Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
I named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves a good fake-out, Frank. How are you today?
I'm good. Gotcha, suckers. Did you guys...
We're talking about Star Wars and Marvel.
Did you really think we were going to be like, yeah, some Marvel stuff happened, some Star Wars stuff happened. Anyway, we have to go now. Beerwithgeeks.com. Come on. We're back. We're back with more because we had to devote an entire episode to Marvel and Star Wars. We had to do it. So fake out. We hope some of you fell for it. In fact,
It'd be funny if this one showed up above, so I started listening to this one before the other D23 episode.
That is true.
Don't do that. Go back and listen to the other D23 one. There's some good stuff in there. Some nuggets.
There is. There's some really good stuff in there. You owe it to yourself.
Yes. You owe it to America. Or whatever country
you're in. Yes.
Bam. Anyway, Frank, what are you drinking?
I am still drinking a 90-plus Cellars Cabernet Sauvignon.
Perfect, because it's literally 2 minutes have passed. Great.
It's been a couple
minutes. I am still drinking Planet Caravan Berliner Style Weiss from the Finch Beer Company in Chicago, Illinois. It is excellent. Boy, isn't it. Frank, let's get right down to business.
I was just going to say, yes.
Oh, yes. We're going to talk Marvel.
Nice.
Not the Captain Sword.
There you go. Yeah.
There was no news to fill. Anyway, let's talk Marvel first, because that will take less of our time, I think. There was some stuff happening. There was some stuff happening with Marvel at D23. First, Kit Harington of Game of Thrones fame is cast in a Marvel film. Everyone was excited. Oh my goodness. Kit Harington, Jon Snow. I'm so happy. And who is he? He's the Black Knight. Hilarious.
I understand this is very exciting for your people.
It is very exciting for my people, Marvel fans and Game of Thrones fans, yes. Yeah, for actually a few reasons. One, because Kit Harington's great, and I wanted him to work again, and not be typecast as Jon Snow. And maybe he'll just be typecast as a knight figure, but that's okay. But he is going to be playing the Black Knight, a.k.a. Dane Whitman, in the Eternals, and the Eternals is also starring Richard Madden, who plays his half-brother, sort of, in Game of Thrones. So they're actually reunited under one camera again, which is pretty nice.
Very cool.
That's exciting. Which is exciting. Do you know anything about the Black Knight, Frank? He's exactly your not type of hero.
None shall pass.
Very good. Very good, Frank. Very good. Not at all.
Oh.
Though close, though. I mean, same name. The Black Knight is a guy named Dane Whitman, and there's a kind of legacy of Black Knights, and they all wield this thing called the Ebony Blade, which is a magic sword, basically. And they go all the way back to King Arthur. So there's always a Black Knight fighting for good and whatever, but the Ebony Blade is evil.
Oh.
And so it can corrupt you and stuff. He's been a bad guy. Black Knight's been a bad guy. He's been an Avenger.
Oh.
So it's been all over the place. This guy, Dane Whitman, is the good version of the Black Knight who has been an Avenger.
Okay. The good guy.
So, yeah, good guy. So maybe he's our entry point character into the Eternals, because the other people in this film are kind of like these godlike-ish beings. You know, they're pretty old. You know, there's Richard Madden and Kumail Nanjiani and Angelina Jolie, and then a few other people. There was a woman who was in Captain Marvel, who is now going to be in the Eternals playing a different character. But she's not going to be in makeup, so it's fine. It's different. Yeah, so and then they showed some Eternals costumes. You know, they presented the cast, and they were like, bam, here are the costumes, and everyone said, yeah, the Eternals. I definitely don't know what that is. Great.
I am not up on my Eternals. I am not super familiar with the Eternals, but I will say everything looked really, really cool. Like, I saw them all out there on stage, and it was awesome to see them all out there.
Did you see Kumail's tweet about his costume?
Did see Kumail's tweet.
Hilarious.
Very excited. I'm
going to be a superhero.
I'm
in purple.
So excited that Kumail is involved in this. Like, that is so freaking cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought, really? Stand-up comedian, Kumail Nanjiani. Oh, so hilarious. We met him. We met somebody who was in a Marvel movie, Frank. If you really want to think of it that way.
I know.
That's pretty cool. I can't speak to anything really about the Eternals. It's not anything I really know about. I can tell you, they're Jack Kirby creation, and I'm fairly certain, if I have this right, Jack Kirby left Marvel, went to go work for DC, created the New Gods, created a fantastic world with them and some cool characters, but he was a terrible writer, and DC was like, we'll smell you later.
Right. Okay.
And then so he actually went back to Marvel and did the Eternals.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they are a solely created by Jack Kirby creation, which is pretty cool. You know, the second founding father of Marvel Comics.
Absolutely. And purely the name The Eternals just like rings of Jack Kirby, doesn't it?
It does. Yep. So they said this at D23, but obviously it's like this is chronologically the first Marvel movie. Like, obviously, they're really old.
Sure.
I didn't think this took place after Captain America. It's cool. So, anyway, we'll see what happens there. Black Panther 2 was announced, coming out May 6, 2022, 5 years after the release of the first one.
That's nuts. I didn't really put the math together there. Yeah, 5 years is the first one. Wow.
5 years.
In this day and age, that's a very long time for a sequel.
Yep. Granted, that'll be the fifth movie he's been in.
Right. Absolutely. No doubt. But still, purely speaking, that is a sequel to the first one, and it's 5 years since the first one. That's unusual to go more than like 2 or 3 years. 4 at most. 5 is like, whoa.
Crazy. And then finally, some Black Widow footage was shown, which is the same footage they showed at Comic-Con, I guess.
Okay.
But they showed that she's wearing she has 2 costumes. One is white, so she's looking like White Canary from Legends of Tomorrow. And the other one is gold, gray, and black, so it actually looks extremely old school, comic accurate Black Widow, which is really nice because I always thought that her outfits never really did her justice.
Yeah.
Like they were always a little too tactile, like in the field. They never really felt like a superhero. She never really felt like a superhero outfit.
They were more like military tactical, like there's pockets, there's like, yeah, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, and this kind of jazzes it up a little bit. So it's cool to see that. There was a poster released, so you can see Taskmaster's face, you can see Red Guardian played by who's Hellboy? David Harbour, a guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exciting. That's MCU stuff. And then they released a bunch of information about Disney Plus.
Oh boy.
So the Falcon and the Winter Soldier premiering fall 2020. There's going to be a new costume for Falcon to reflect that he is Captain America now, but they're not going to call him Captain America, they said. That I would assume saving that for the movies for those who aren't going to be in on the Disney Plus, or it's his journey to becoming Captain America, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like he feels like he has to earn it
first,
which is pretty cool. Daniel Bruhl returns as Zemo, which we knew already. He will sport his purple mask. Emily Van Camp returns as Sharon Carter. And Wyatt Russell joins the cast as U.S. Agent, which is awesome. That is a character I loved when I was a kid. There was a toy, and he's basically just Captain America in a black outfit with some red and white stripes.
Well, that's fun.
And that's all we knew about him. He said that his name was U.S. Agent, and we thought that was super cool. And I'm jazzed that he is going to be on some form of screen. I don't know why.
Does that character originate in like the 80s or 90s? Am I correct in assuming that based
80s.
off of his name?
Pretty sure it's the 80s.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, because if he originated in the 90s, he'd have bigger shoulder pads and pockets.
Right.
And he's basically just a different colored Captain America costume.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, he does stuff, but I'm excited. U.S. Agent, baby. WandaVision, spring 2021. So we still have some time for the next one. So the first Disney Plus show is fall 2020, which is almost over a year away.
Right.
And then Marvel Disney Plus, and then we have to wait until the spring for WandaVision, which I love the name because it's double-edged. It's great.
Great name.
It's the two of them. It's like Wanda and Vision, but it's also her vision of a different reality that she creates because they're definitely going to introduce her reality warping powers.
Right.
Because they keep talking about how she is literally one of the strongest people in the MCU, and that if Thanos didn't cheat, she would have won the battle by the time they fought again and stuff like that. So I'm pumped for this. Know what I'm even more pumped for, though? Kat Dennings returning as Darcy.
Yes!
She is hilarious in the Thor films. I'm so excited that she's back. I don't know what she's doing, but she's back, and it's great.
I love that they put her here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what an interesting choice to put her here on this show. I mean, they could have put her on another show we're about to talk about in a minute, but nope, they chose this one.
Yeah, true.
So
true, Frank.
I'm very, very interested in that and what dynamics may come from that, who she's going to associate with, and everything else. I'm very excited.
I agree. There's an adult Monica Rambeau coming. We saw the child version of her in Captain Marvel. Randall Park is returning as Agent Wu. And Catherine Hahn is also in the cast. It looks like it's going to be taking a lot of inspiration from Tom King's Eisner Award-winning limited series Vision, which if you haven't read, would recommend. It is harrowing.
I need to read that. I do need to read that before I watch this. I love Catherine Hahn. I'm really excited that she's involved in this. I hope we get to see her in an MCU movie at some point. And Randall Park. Like, Randall Park is such a good sport. He is up for whatever. Like, he has done TV. He has done movie. Like, he was in an episode of The Office. He was in, like, Always Be My Maybe on Netflix earlier this year. Like, and then he's been in the MCU. He's been in so much. He's, like, run the gamut. He's, I think, a very versatile actor and has, like, such a, like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like, I love that attitude that he has. So I'm
Me too.
excited to see him in this because I think he's a very good actor.
Plus, when somebody's like, do you want to be in the MCU? So everyone's like, yes, of course.
But I'm saying
Yes,
he's done movies and he's done television and he's like kind of bounced back and forth effortlessly. So
I agree.
I'm glad that he's going to be in this.
I wish more people knew his name. I feel like it's a lot of like, oh, it's that guy. You know?
That's true.
And
It's unfortunate, but I agree. Yeah.
Maybe one day. I've been told that this show is part sitcom, part 50 sitcom, like, this is the idyllic life, and part action adventure. So it's going to be big. It's going to feel big, apparently, even though they say it's some sitcom stuff. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I like those two characters quite a bit. I find their relationship fascinating.
Yes. Good.
So,
Good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Loki in the spring of 2021. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston is returning. 6 episodes, all directed by Kate Herron, and it's Loki in time influencing different events in history, but it's a different timeline than the main timeline.
So is it not safe to say that this is what Loki is doing when he takes the Tesseract in Endgame?
That's exactly what's happening.
That's what I thought.
He disappears, and now we see what he does after that.
So when he makes that, when he pops away with the Tesseract, this is where he goes. These 6 episodes will show us where he goes, and this is what I was referring to when I said you would think that Kat Dennings would be involved in a different show. You would think that she'd be in this one because this is more aligned to Thor, which is where her entry into the MCU comes in. But But they put her in WandaVision, so that's interesting.
Except that every episode is supposed to take place in a different time period.
Sure.
So I don't know what she would do with him exactly, except
I
be his sounding board.
Yeah,
but
his companion, whatever.
Mm-hmm. There's an animated series coming in summer of 2021 called What If, which is technically in canon, even though it's a what if story. So it's one episode per Marvel film. All the original actors are reprising their roles, and each episode is a what if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? What would happen?
It feels like they're taking
she becomes Captain Britain.
It feels like they're taking each Marvel movie and they are changing putting one big twist in each, right? So of the 22, whatever we're up to, films, we're going to get like the what if, almost like the how it should have ended type of thing, but a bigger twist than that.
Yeah, What If was a Marvel series
right?
in the 90s. Yeah, I had a Spider-Man one where it's what if Peter got bit by a spider, but he just turned into a giant spider instead.
Oh, right. I think you told me about that one before. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it used to scare me, actually. I didn't like reading it. It was gross.
I could see
creepy.
that.
Yeah. But Jeffrey Wright is playing the Watcher, which I think is pretty cool because that means he'll probably also play the Watcher in the Eternals or something.
Oh, cool.
Because if every Marvel character, if every actor is reprising their role for the animated series, and Jeffrey Wright is the only one that is a Marvel character but hasn't seen on the big screen before playing a character, I would assume that he's going to play the Watcher in the Eternals.
It's a connected universe. It seems like they'll do that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then we knew Hawkeye is coming fall 2021. It's going to be about him training Kate Bishop. There wasn't really anything to say there, but they announced 3 new Disney Plus Marvel shows, and they are as follows. They are Miss Marvel, TBA, don't know when it's coming out, Camille Khan in Jersey City. Everyone loves a good Miss Marvel. She's hilarious. It's good stuff. I'm glad that she's debuting somewhere.
Yeah. Do you think she'll get a film? I mean, do you think if this is successful, that she'll get a film out of it?
I think they'll cross over. Yeah. I don't know if she'll get a film as so much as show up in films.
Fair,
if that,
fair,
yeah. But I don't think you'll see her do a TV show and then get a film that feels maybe a little bit more convoluted than it needs to be. Like Hawkeye, Wanda, Vision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. They were all characters in Avengers movies or other characters' movies, and so now they have their own shows. I feel it's more like that. I'm not sure. We'll see. Moon Knight, TBA. Don't know who's in it, but everyone wanted a Marvel Netflix Moon Knight show, and now we're getting a Disney Plus Moon Knight show. I don't know if that's the same thing, but I'm excited because Moon Knight is a cool character.
Agreed. I'm actually kind of excited for this. We don't know much, but the fact that it exists is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, Disney said that there will be no R-rated content on their streaming service. So it is definitely expected that Moon Knight will not be as violent or as sexual as the Marvel Netflix shows.
Okay.
It might push the boundary of that style, but it won't. It's not going. Don't expect Daredevil.
Yep.
I think that's the kind of the marker there. And then finally, She-Hulk is getting her own show. Jennifer Walters, great character. It's so great. Everyone read Charles Soule's run on the character. It's so good. It's great. It's awesome. She's a lawyer and a superhero, but she's not blind. It's different than Daredevil, I promise.
It's different, I promise.
I think she's actually just an attorney.
Okay. Still a lawyer.
But Kevin Feige said that you could probably expect a Bruce and Hulk appearance.
Cool.
Smart Hulk.
Cool.
So more...
Mark Ruffalo, I assume, would reprise that role if it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited. I mean, She-Hulk is one of those characters that I'm not super familiar with, but I feel like has a lot of... I almost feel like She-Hulk has a sort of Supergirl allure to her, where people like the male character that came first, Superman or Hulk in this case, But there is a lot to love about Supergirl or She-Hulk that gets ignored because they came second, and frankly because they're a woman. And I feel like that's unfair, and that giving She-Hulk this sort of spotlight, and in some ways it's better than a feature film because you're going to have, I mean, we don't know how many episodes this will be exactly, but most of these others seem to be at least 6 episodes, sometimes more. So you'll get at least 6 hours of getting to know Jennifer Walters. You get 3 movies worth of Jennifer Walters right out the gate, at least. So I love that. I love that we're going to get that.
I do too. And Lord knows how long it's going to take to get there, but I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait around, Frank. I mean, I got nothing but time as I know it right now.
Right. And it's worth mentioning. I'm not sure if we said this or not, but it's worth mentioning that all of these Disney Plus shows, and I assume this goes for all the non-Marvel, non-Star Wars stuff too, they're releasing on a week-to-week schedule, not a dump the whole season all at once binge it schedule.
Yeah. Which I like and I don't like. Yeah. I love that I could binge if I had the time, but I so rarely have the time, so the pressure's off. Like, I'm like, I don't have to watch something nerdy in a weekend. I'm like, sorry, everyone, I can't do stuff. I got to watch this show because Frank and I are talking about it on Monday.
I used to have that much time. I don't have... Pardon me. The wine is very good. I don't have that much time anymore. It used to be like these shows drop on a Friday, and then we would binge the whole thing over the weekend and try to talk about it Monday. And I've always struggled with it, and now it's impossible for me to do. So it's kind of nice that it'll be at a pace that, like, all right, great, 6 episodes, 6 weeks. I can watch it when I have time, and I'll feel better about that for sure.
Me too. Frank, let's talk about Star Wars, because let me guess, you like Star Wars. Well, let me tell you something. Reference. I like Star Wars too.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it.
All right.
Let's talk about it. All right. First, I'm going to talk about non-stuff before we get to stuff. How's that?
Yes, that sounds good. Let's leave the stuff for the end.
Exactly. Non-stuff. I mean, it's all stuff, but, I'm going to stop saying stuff. Stuff. Clone Wars Season 6, premiering February 2020. It's 12 episodes. I should probably watch the rest of it because.
Yeah, I need to watch Season 5.
I need to watch Seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5.
You have so much fun ahead of you. Oh, you're going to have such a good time. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't love it. Honestly, it's like it's not for us. It's for kids.
It is for kids.
And so I had a hard time getting into it.
But it is for kids, but there is do you care about the EU at all?
Yeah, I love the EU.
Okay, then I'm actually a little surprised you're not more into this. The same way that people are surprised, like, wait, you don't like Game of Thrones? You don't like Lord of the Rings? Like about me? I probably
sort of. Yes and no. I think it's kind of it's more the equivalent of, I don't know, like watching Superman movies but not caring about a Superman television show.
Yeah, a little bit. But like the fact that you like the EU, these are EU stories essentially. These are filling in gaps in between what happened between episodes 2 and 3.
Oh yeah, I know. I watched the first season and a good chunk of the second one.
Sorry, I know you know the premise. I'm not. I don't mean to say that you don't know the
premise. I thought you were telling me the premise. I was like, I don't know, Frank. I watched some.
But it's more of like little character moments and little, like, there are lots of little things that are like, that's why Anakin is the way he is. Like, there's a lot of those little things. The thing that I will criticize the show about is that the episodes are not necessarily in order. There are a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
It jumps around in the timeline a lot. So there is actually like call it a machete order. You can look it up online. There's an order where you can watch it in chronological order, but it's not told. If you watch this series like seasons 1 through 5, you're not watching it in the order these things happen. Some of these things take place before one another, and it's a little disorienting in that way. I'm not sure why they did it that way.
Odd.
It is odd.
Could have just been like what episode was done before another one, depending on what animation studio was going at the time.
I don't know. They do little arcs. So it's more like a comic book, really. I say it EU, but it's really more like a comic book where there's little arcs of like, here's 3 episodes that tell this mini story, and here's 3 episodes that tell this story. So it in that sense, it's more like a comic book. And I guess it's sort of like if it's like an anthology comic where like it's just different stories from this era, and it doesn't matter what order they're in. But it kind of matters what order they're in.
All of that is fine. To me, it feels like one long filler episode.
I get that.
That's kind of where I kind of get hung up on. I'm like, well, I already know the end result. I've seen Revenge of the Sith.
Totally.
So I know where everything's headed already. It's not a surprise, and I already know why Anakin is the way that he is and stuff like that. And so I
get that.
Yeah,
I get that. I'm not a total Clone Wars apologist, but I have listened to enough Rebel Force radio and heard them talk about how much they love the Clone Wars that some of that has rubbed off on me, where I've gained an appreciation for it through their
maybe
love
I should
of
listen
it.
to some Rebel Force. Maybe I should listen to some Rebel Force radio.
Yeah, maybe you should. So yeah, that would be. I look forward to this. I do need to watch season 5. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. I think it's been taken off.
It has been taken off because it's going to be on Disney
Right.
Plus.
Okay, I thought so.
I guess, and I know it's going to be in there the November launch. So I do have from like November to February to catch up if I really want to. Maybe I'll just watch the important ones and skip some of the ones. I get bogged down with the Trooper episodes. Those are the ones that always like I could just whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And you know,
I like a Jedi. I don't care about the clone troopers. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to keep moving. The Cassian Andor show, the Rogue One prequel show, is going to begin filming in 2020, and Alan Tudyk is back as K2SO. There was a picture of oh my goodness, who plays Cassian?
Goodness. I will use my one lookup so you can keep going.
Thank you. There's a picture of the two of them hugging it out, and someone had said, like, I think
Diego Luna. Didn't use my lookup. Use my lookup.
Oh, good for
Diego
you.
Luna.
Yay. Thank you, Diego Luna. And Helen Tudyk says, Cassian said I had to, or something like that.
Right. That's right.
Great.
Yes.
It's funny. I didn't think that those characters would have life outside of that film because they were so isolated in Rogue One. So I'm really pumped to see a Cassian and K2SO show because I was really sad at the end of Rogue One. And I want to see more. I like Rebellion stuff more than Resistance stuff, so I give me some Rebellion stuff.
Yeah, me too. I like Rebellion stuff more for sure. I'm that era is like, we grew up with that stuff, right? Like
that's right.
That's the era that we know, and I feel more tied to that because it feels tied to Episode 4. So I love that stuff. I love K2SO. I love Cassian. Would love to explore that more. So I'm really excited we're getting it.
Speaking of things we're tied to, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor is back. He's doing a series, and I'm more excited about this than most films.
I have something to say about that.
Yes, go ahead.
That was the redacted version, the abridged version.
Oh, where's the R2? Where's the R2D2? There it is. Thank you. I assume you put it in right there.
Well, now I have to. So thanks for
that. I'm just responding to what I assume you would put in. Hilarious. Ewan is back. Apparently, he's been back for years. I saw an interview with him, and he was like, "It feels good not to lie now," because he's like, "I've been lying for years."
Well, see, that's interesting. That's interesting because I had heard something with him, an interview from a couple of years ago, where they asked him, "Would you come back if they wanted you to?" And he was like, "Well, I'm not sure I can really talk about this." So which would support what you're saying. But then I did hear something that leading up to D23, they were still trying to finalize his contract and sign. So maybe he had a handshake agreement, but he hadn't agreed on the pay or whatever.
It could have been. Maybe it really was oscillating between it was going to be a movie, it was going to be a this, it was going to be a this, it was going to be and nobody was truly sure. It was that, but there was a handshake agreement. He's coming back. We just don't know the avenue that he's coming back.
Yeah, the specifics of it and all that.
And and truly, people wanted a movie. Now we get hours of him. Hours.
So exciting.
I'm I'm thrilled. It is in the same era as Solo, so it's 10 years before A New Hope.
10 years before. Okay.
So that's Luke is 10.
Luke is
about
10. By this point, he should kind of look a little bit like Alec Guinness.
I hope so.
Right?
It's 10 years, but the desert does stuff. But my God,
I mean, if it's
so
only
he's basically
20
been
years,
on. He's basically been on Tatooine for 10 already.
He's been on Tatooine for 10. If it's only 20 years between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope, this is the midpoint of that. Also, thinking about it, he aged really poorly, really quickly.
Well, I think I assume that Obi-Wan is supposed to be just about in his 40s in Revenge of the Sith,
sure.
And he's supposed to just be about in his 60s, and you know what I mean. That's just kind of how I've always played it out. But Jedi usually look great. The Force and stuff, it really mellows them out. It helps them.
It does. It does. I mean, Luke aged better than Obi-Wan in 30 years versus 20.
That's true, but he wasn't on a desert planet the whole time. The sand and the sun and stuff, it does stuff to you. And also, maybe he just aged poorly. It happens to people. Or maybe they're two different actors and we should all shut up. Who's to say?
Could be. Who knows?
Who knows? Frank, The Mandalorian released a trailer. I assume it was the same one that they released at Comic-Con, because I didn't see the internet making ton of noise. Like, oh my God, this is brand new footage or anything like that. So I think some people had already seen it. Mandalorian's coming out November 12th. What do you think? What did you think of the trailer?
I'm super excited for The Mandalorian, more than I expected to be, because I have never, the whole sort of cult following of Boba Fett, never really, like when we were kids even, did you feel like there were kids who were really into Boba Fett, right?
Oh, yes. One of my best friends was super into Boba Fett.
And I was always sort of like, I don't get it. We don't know anything about him. He's in 2 of the movies for like 5 minutes. I don't get it. I never
goes
really
out like a chump.
And he goes out like a
chump. Mm-hmm.
He goes out like a chump. That's right.
I actually like Django more than Boba.
Well, because you saw more of him. You know more about him. You have more of a character background on him.
And also, he fights Obi-Wan, and that's super cool. You actually don't really see Boba do much of anything. And so, if anything, I'm excited to be excited about a Mandalorian bounty hunter. If
Bingo.
If you follow me there.
Bingo. That's where I'm going. That's exactly where I was going. So I never really got the Boba thing, but this feels like, okay, I feel like I will actually understand why this guy is cool. So I'm excited for it. It looks really good. It looks really damn good. It looks like a Star Wars Western.
Yeah, it looks like Tombstone or Unforgiven or Slow West or All Quiet on the West. No, All Quiet on the West Front is World War I.
No, not that one. But it does look like a Clint Eastwood movie, like an old Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, Fistful of Dollars, and good
for a few dollars more.
Looks like a spaghetti western.
Yes,
western or what? Spaghetti.
A western spaghetti.
I think that it was odd that you never hear him speak. Is that always tips my brain? I was like, why doesn't he say anything?
Feels like a choice, right? Feels like a choice.
It's a choice. Like, is it your choice because you don't like the way he speaks, or you want us to think he's mysterious? Because it could go either way.
I think it's that they want to hold that back. I think they want to keep that mysterious. I think that they have their reasons for it, and they want to just pull the punch a little bit. Hold it back and let the impact come when they want it to come.
Mm-hmm. I loved watching IG-88 fight, even just for a little bit, because you understand why this scrawny twig of a droid can be an effective bounty hunter.
Oh yeah,
just for a second, I thought that was really cool, and yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. But Frank, I'm excited about that stuff, but I'm not as excited about The Mandalorian the way I'm excited about Rise of the Skywalker, because we got some cool tidbits at D23. First up, they had all the Stormtrooper outfits in a row that were going to be in Rise of Skywalker. And one of them had jetpacks, which is pretty cool. So we're going to have some Stormtroopers with some jetpacks. And another one, I think we saw in some promotional art or a trailer or something. I can't remember. Remember there was that leaked trailer a while ago, and it was kind of low res, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, yeah, it's low res, but it's probably real." And they haven't released that trailer out technically, but those red stormtroopers are real, so that trailer was probably legit.
Oh yeah.
Red stormtroopers, they're called Sith troopers, and they are, quote, an elite group of stormtroopers that draw inspiration from a dark and evil legacy. I don't know what that's about, but that sounds cool. That sounds really cool. I wonder if the Sith troopers are actually the Knights of Ren.
Ooh. Oh, see, here I was going to make a snarky joke, and you dropped something really interesting on me. Now ooh. Huh.
Yeah. Or they could be Palpatine's personal guard.
Could be. Ooh,
he could have been like, by other guards, let me die. Maybe I'll go with these guys instead.
See, I was going to say they're an elite squad of stormtroopers who have aim.
Oh, see, that's also where the disc comes in. I like that. Oh, man, they don't. They just don't have aim. It's great. Carrie Fisher is, we've heard this a few times before. Carrie Fisher has a substantial role in the film, was the words that they used. Substantial. They had truly enough footage from Force Awakens and Last Jedi to craft an actual story that involves her. And she is, quote, the heart of the movie. I was wondering this. Do you think that they said they didn't CGI her, but I bet you they changed her clothes.
Why her clothes specifically?
Because if they need her dialogue from one scene in, say, The Force Awakens to match the dialogue she says in The Last Jedi for her next line, she would obviously be wearing two different outfits. So if they CGI'd her clothes to be something new, they could create a seamless Leia without actually making a CG Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
They would just change what she's wearing to make it all match.
Interesting. Okay, I see that.
Yeah, because let's say the outfit that we see her in the footage that's been released, she's in the jungle. She's never been in the jungle. That outfit is totally new with 2 movies. We've never seen her in it before. I don't think that outfit's real. That's what I mean. Because she only wears the vest in all of The Force Awakens.
Sure.
That's the only thing. So I really, really think that this is their part of the way of getting her to be in different parts of the movie is to literally give her computer generated clothing, which is really smart. It's really smart. Yeah, I love it. Kerry Russell's character, whose name I cannot remember, though I think they released it, is, quote, old friends with Poe, and he is not happy to see her. So, question for you, is Poe Rey's father? Because Kerry Russell's definitely Rey's mom. I don't have a question about this at all. That hasn't been released, but she definitely is.
Poe isn't old enough to be Rey's father.
Yes, he is. He's in his 40s. She's in her 20s. Easy.
I don't know. I'm not sold on that. I'm sold on the Kerry Russell piece. I'm sold on that, but I'm not sold on Poe. I don't. Is he in his 40s?
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Even if he's in his 40s, she's not 20.
Okay, hold on.
Or is
I'm going to
she?
do this for real.
Daisy Ridley.
Oscar Isaac is 40 years old.
Okay, but that doesn't mean Poe is.
Yeah, that's right. He could be older. That's right.
He could be younger.
Ewan McGregor is playing an older Obi-Wan in the Kenobi series.
Yeah, but people in their 20s regularly play people in high school. So I'm just saying, just because he's 40 doesn't mean he's playing a 40-year-old. He could be playing a 35-year-old or a 30-year-old.
No, you're absolutely right. But he could be playing somebody older than that, or they were young and they were kids, and that's why she got left on Jakku. You know,
Kerry Russell, I am on board with that. I am not totally sold on the Poe thing. And again, if I am wrong, I will admit it publicly on the show. A thing I hate doing. But I just don't. I'm not getting the vibe.
You know, I'm not saying I actually want it to be that way.
Okay.
Because I honestly don't. But that kind of feel like that, he's not, they're, quote, old friends, and he is not happy to see her. So I just maybe she was pregnant and ran away, and so he doesn't have any knowledge of her or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's all new and whatever else. I don't have answers. I just have questions. But Kerry Russell's 43. I looked it up. And so, they are, I don't know how old Daisy Ridley is. And you're right; they don't have to be their real ages, like because that's not how Hollywood works at all. But if they could be in the same, and Daisy Ridley's 27.
Okay, that's
She
about
looks
what I
younger than
figured.
that. Yeah.
Even at 40, he's not old enough to be her dad. Just saying.
No, you're right. But I'm also saying that I mean if she's 27 and Kerry Russell's 43, she's really not old enough to be her mom either.
Correct.
And you're on board for that though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Double
well, I'm
standards,
no
Frank.
longer on board with it
Yeah.
now that you told me that.
Yeah.
You talked me right out of that one.
I don't know. That just seems. I wouldn't think that wouldn't occur to me except for the language that they used.
Oh,
And so
okay.
that's
okay.
I wouldn't. Poe being her dad is something that never entered my mind in 2 films and speculation and talking about it. Literally nothing.
Right.
And so it's just the old friends, and he's not happy to see her, and the speculation that Kerry Russell is her mom, like already, like that all makes sense to me. But who's to say? Who's truly to say?
Who can say?
Who can say? Anyway, Frank, there was a new poster that was released. It's pretty spiffy. You showed me something online that it actually mirrors the Return of the Jedi. Put one of the Return of the Jedi posters.
Well, a fan made some fan art that makes the Rise of Skywalker poster look more like the Return of the Jedi poster, the Revenge of the Jedi poster,
Right.
The original Revenge of the Jedi poster. So someone took the existing Rise of Skywalker poster and tweaked it a bit, tweaked the art style and added some text overlays and stuff and made it look much more like a Revenge of the Jedi poster. I will put that in the show notes because I am a good podcaster and know what I'm doing. By the way, you can find the show notes at beerwithgeeks.com. We don't say that very often, but if you're using an app that doesn't give you the links to the show notes, like I know Apple Podcasts just gives you a mess of just text, which I didn't realize for the longest time because I don't use Apple Podcasts. I use Overcast on the iPhone. If you go to beerwithgeeks.com and find this episode, the show notes will be there with links that are actually accessible and intelligible. So, just saying. I'll throw that in there. But, yeah, it's a beautiful looking poster. The original poster is beautiful, and then that fan version of it is great too. I'm very into that poster. I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot.
I saw some speculation online that the head of Emperor Palpatine, might actually be a hot toy used as the model, like one of those super detailed dolls, the action figures. It's like I'm not sure where the speculation came from, but I guess like the facial structure matches the hot toy more than it matches Ian McDermott's face.
Oh.
I'm not sure how true that is.
Okay.
Nor do I really want to believe
That's
it. But
interesting, though.
yeah.
Huh.
Oh man, I love it though. I'm actually just zoomed in. Ooh man, that's nice. I'm actually gonna take a screenshot of that. I will send it to you. I just zoomed in on the poster, just the Kylo and Rey, image, and that alone is beautiful.
So cool.
It's so cool. I wasn't totally up on the poster. I wasn't totally up on the poster the first time that I saw it.
Oh, really?
It didn't look like. No, it looks very
yeah.
anti other Star Wars images, and so it threw me. But I've grown to it.
So
you know what it is? It looks like I made this on a computer. You know,
it does. It does. Look, here's the thing about we're going long already, so I'm just going to go on a bit of a tangent here. The marketing for Rise of Skywalker looks very inspired by the Marvel strategy. In a couple of ways. This poster looks more like a Marvel poster in the sense that you have the villain's face looming over it, and then the other characters in the foreground in action, right? Think of Endgame, where you had that poster with Thanos up in the background. So that feels more to me like a Marvel style poster. And this is sort of a transition into the teaser. The teaser that we got for Rise of Skywalker really extremely was like paint by number, and I mean that in a negative way, in a pejorative sense. I mean, paint by numbers, the same formula that they used for the Endgame teaser, where you had shots from throughout the franchise leading up to the last 30 seconds or so, maybe the last minute of the teaser being new footage from this film. I really feel like Disney has found a sweet spot with the Marvel stuff, where they've been churning out dozens and dozens and dozens of movies. They found a sweet spot with the marketing there, and they're now applying that formula to another franchise, Star Wars, that they own. And it feels very like, okay, this has worked. We're going to apply this across the board. I feel like that's smart in one sense, and it like makes a ton of sense, and I'm excited for what it gets me hyped. It gets me very, very, very hyped because it works. I kind of, in another sense, I feel like Star Wars is its own thing and almost deserves its own, has its own traditions and its own way of doing things. But Disney knows what they're doing, and I'm just very, very excited for this movie.
This, in some ways, yes, it has its own way of doing things, but this is the wrap up to the Skywalker saga. So, like going, kind of pulling hardcore from the legacy of Star Wars, I think, is an important part of the film leading up to this moment. But Disney also wants you to be like, hey, remember Star Wars? Remember the good ones? Hey, look, we even threw some prequel stuff in here. Remember that? Because, like, you liked prequels, actually. Don't think that you didn't, because you did, because it's Star Wars, and we bought it for a lot of money, so like it.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
None of that is false. None of that is false. I just ultimately, I think that they know what they're doing. I think that they know what they're doing. And who am I to question the mouse?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, Frank, let's talk about the scissor reel that they released this morning.
Yes,
actually. Please. Yes. Okay, great. Frank, let's talk about, one, the gang is, well, it's all Star Wars stuff before. Let's just talk about the Rise of Skywalker stuff. Because, like, hey, look, it's Star Wars. Gang is all together. They're in some city civilization thingy in the desert. It's definitely the same planet where Kylo and Rey fight, where she jumps over his ship and Finn and Poe are on the skiff. And I'm excited. Who's to say? It's definitely not Jakku, and it's definitely not Tatooine. It's a new desert planet, because we love our desert planets in Star Wars. Now there are 3 of them.
Yeah, that's a thing.
We should not have made the sequel.
Nice. Very nice. So we've got the desert planet yet to be named.
I think they did name it. I actually can't remember the name.
It's
though.
not
I'm pretty sure they. I'm pretty sure. What is it?
Batu?
Maybe. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Well, Batu is the planet that Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be.
Oh, then I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. General Organa in the jungle. Already talked about her CGI clothing. Who's to say if it's real? We get a bunch of ships. We get some resistance ships, fleets of ships, and then you get the First Order ships, and there's like quadruple the amount of Star Destroyers to the resistance ships.
I mean, more Star Destroyers than we've ever seen combined are all in one shot.
Oh, I know. It's been brewing. Palpatine's brewing the something, and I like it.
And you said Palpatine. The other thing is, someone on Twitter pointed out that those are not. So I can't tell the difference, but those are not First Order Star Destroyers. Those are Imperial Star Destroyers.
Really?
That's what Twitter is saying. Again, I don't know the difference. From at a glance, and certainly not in silhouette, I can't tell.
Okay.
What makes them what? But those are apparently Imperial Star Destroyers.
Okay, that lends a strong theory that I've had and I've talked about on this show before, but Palpatine definitely had clones in the Outer Rim. No question. Clones are a part of Star Wars. See Attack of the Clones. Also, the Clone Wars.
Yes.
So, he definitely had clones himself in the Outer Rim. Snoke supposedly came from the Outer Rim, out of nowhere. And he's like, I know dark side stuff. Everyone, let's do some First Order stuff. And everyone was like, cool, let's do that. So Snoke, more than likely, a failed clone of Palpatine doing his thing, or maybe a workable enough clone of Palpatine until the good one was all juiced and ready to go.
Sure.
So while Snoke was doing that stuff, the Empire was reforming itself in the Outer Rim, where it was uncharted and nobody knows what's happening.
Okay.
And so all of those Imperial Star Destroyers are preparing for war for 20 years or 30 years or whatever out there in the Outer Rim, and that's why they're older. That's why they're older versions.
I like it. I buy it.
Yeah.
That holds water to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of all the facts or like tidbits have kind of pointed their way. Evidence pointed its way there in some capacity, so we'll see. C-3PO, allegedly, or at least a protocol droid, has some red eyes. I want it to be 000.
We're
so
both
bad.
thinking the same thing, right? He smoked too much weed, and now his eyes are different. Okay, yeah, that works too. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I saw it. That's funny. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious joke. We make a lot of those on Beer with Geek. Frank, so show about alcohol, not a joke about about drugs.
Sorry,
yeah. 000 is a protocol droid from the comics that's like evil C-3PO.
Yeah,
where
Dr.
he
Aphra's
and Dr. Aphra's, she
sidekick.
has a R2 unit and a protocol droid, and they're basically the evil R2-D2 and C-3PO, where they like torturing and maiming people, and they're great. And I really hope that C-3PO is actually 000, and 000 somehow made his way into the last Star Wars movie
Now,
in the Skywalker saga.
I want to raise something we talked about quite a while ago, probably when that last teaser trailer came out for I guess back at Star Wars Celebration. There was a theory going around the internet that 3PO will be imprinted with some other droid's personality. The theory I was seeing was that maybe it was R2-D2, but it wasn't clear. It could be another droid. So if he has the red eyes, and we saw him carrying Chewie's bowcaster, I'm starting to think that maybe there's something to that. Maybe it's not R2-D2 that he's imprinted with, but maybe it's another droid's memory who has been dumped into his.
Yep, I agree. And I honest to goodness, with his red eyes, think it's 000.
I think it might be.
Yeah. Because, I mean, 000 requires no backstory for you to be like, oh, I have to learn about this character. It's just a murderous protocol droid.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and wow, what, like, it's not really a deep cut, but it's a comic book cut.
Yeah.
And like pulling from a Star Wars comic is a bigger deal than it sounds like, because normally the comics have really no relation on the films whatsoever. You know, like they make the comics and the film comes out, I'm like, oh my god, they changed something. We have to retcon this and this and this because we wrote this. That's
right.
How Star Wars comics works. But there's some synergy happening here, and I sure as heck hope so. Anyway, we're really long, so I'm gonna keep going. There's a big red beam from the sky, a smaller Death Star, perhaps. It better not be. I have no idea what's happening.
If it's a smaller Death Star, is it like a just like
it's just a ship.
Third degree burn star? Like what?
Ooh,
what?
Yeah. It's a 3rd-degree burn star. It's a concussion star. You get knocked out, but you'll be fine. Just don't look at bright screens for a while.
I guess so. But what comes next is Rey throws her lightsaber at one of those remotes that like Luke was using on the on board the Falcon, and chops down a tree in the process.
Yep, and it comes back to her. I think that's pretty close to the beginning of the film.
I think so.
It's the jungle, and I think it's the jungle, and you see Leia in that same jungle, and then you see them hug in the original teaser trailer they released, and so that's all the same scene.
I think so.
Rey and Kylo fighting on the remnants of the second Death Star. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Pretty cool. I mean, we assume it's the second Death Star because the first one really disintegrated.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. I mean, based on what we saw at the end of the previous teaser, like it's in the ocean and all that, it's got to be the remnants of that Death Star.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We hear Palpatine say, "Your journey nears its end," and then we hear Darth Vader breathing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not seeing a lot of talk about on the internet, and I don't know why.
I know, right? And that seems very significant to me. And it's not just Darth Vader breathing; it's a whole bunch of other assorted, hard to pick out sounds.
Yes.
A sound collage that culminates with Darth Vader breathing, and then really culminates with a visual.
Well, so here's my second theory. So, because it goes into this last visual that I certainly can talk about. The beginning of the talking, the narration, the voiceover in the scissor reel is Luke from the trailer saying 1,000 generations live in you now. But then this one switches to Palpatine saying your journey nears its ends and Vader breathing with a bunch of other sounds, and then it's Rey wearing dark robes with a double-bladed lightsaber. So what if it's 1,000 generations of Jedi and Sith living inside of her?
You know, 1,000 generations of Force users.
Live inside her, right? And she's like, she is literally the balance. She is both of them.
Well, I do think that she is bringing balance to the Force. It's tough for me because I've always felt that Anakin is the chosen one, and he brings balance to the Force through his son.
That's correct.
But this would amend that, and it would make you think that maybe Rey is the chosen one, and she's bringing balance to the Force because she is going to propagate a whole new generation of Force users who are, according to the very popular fan theory that you were the first person I heard say this, that they're going to be called the Skywalkers. So, it's hard for me because I'm like, but I really think Anakin is and kind of should be the chosen one, but this would change that.
Well, the prophecy misread could have been
right.
Right. It George Lucas literally built in and out.
That's true. There's an escape hatch right there. You're right.
Yeah. So it might not. Yeah. I don't know, but I
don't know.
think the Rey, with the double-bladed lightsaber, which is super cool, the way it folds out and stuff, really nifty. Apparently was on Rebels first, that style lightsaber.
I saw that. I did see that. I didn't watch much of Rebels. I watched most of season 1. I'm not even sure if I finished season 1, to be honest. I felt
for kids.
About
it was
Rebels
not for us
the way you felt about Clone Wars. It wasn't for me. I see the enjoyment factor of it, but it's not for me, and I did jump off the train. Emma, it's hard to tell if this lightsaber is it like Kylo's? Yeah, it is like Kylo's, where it's fiery, spitty.
It's jagged.
Yeah, jagged. Yeah.
It's a jagged lightsaber. I can't remember who said it, but this was a while ago. This was Force Awakens, where somebody was like, "Oh, why is the red lightsaber different?" And someone was like, "Because computer-generated effects are better now, and it looks cooler."
You know whose idea that was?
Was it you?
I wish. It was Johnny Ive, the guy who designs all of Apple's products.
Really?
The guy, the Apple's chief design officer or whatever. He's designed every Mac, every iPhone, every iPad for the last 20 plus years. He talked to J.J. Abrams before The Force Awakens and was like, I feel like they should be more fiery and less lasery. And J.J. took him up on it and made Kylo's lightsaber that way.
Right, because in continuity, his kyber crystal is cracked,
yes.
which is why it crackles and stuff. Which, I mean, maybe hers is cracked, and maybe it's a dream. But she's never seen a red lightsaber that doesn't crackle like that. So in her brain, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, so you raise an interesting point there. Everyone's trying to figure out what is happening with Dark Rey here, right? Hashtag Dark Rey was trending all day when this was released. So, is it that is it first of all, is it really happening? Is it a dream sequence of some kind, right? Kind of like the Force back sequence that she had in Force Awakens, where she was seeing all these events from the Star Wars saga. Is it a Luke in the cave type of scenario? Is it something where she turns dark for part of the film and then bounces back and comes back towards the light? We did see Luke say to her, how scared he was because he never saw someone embrace the dark that easily and that quickly without hesitation, and how he couldn't train her because of this. There are supporting reasons, and there is evidence on kind of for every theory that you have, which makes it interesting to me.
I don't know. I truly think it's a Luke in the cave thing. I don't think
I'm
this
leaning
is real.
towards that.
Especially since we know this is the last one that she's going to be in and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't... It doesn't...
Well,
it doesn't feel... Well, they say, but...
They say.
It doesn't... Yeah, they say. But it doesn't...
I don't believe that this is the end of the Skywalker saga. I don't believe but this is the end of these new characters for sure. I
feel
think
like
in
it's
5
the end
to 10
of the
years... In 5 to 10 years, I think we will see another trilogy that has Rey and Finn and Poe in it again. But that's just
I think that is the end of the Skywalker family saga, as my theory goes.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
So
probably, but maybe not.
This is there's no more. There's no more of them. They're dead. You know what I mean? So like, unless Rey is one, but she probably isn't. But maybe she is. But if there are no more Skywalkers, there literally can't be any more of the family story. There isn't a family left to tell their story.
Except that Luke is going to be a Force ghost, and we all know it.
Yes, but that doesn't. But he's not going to have a character like arc as a Force ghost.
I guess.
You know, for
in that sense, yes. I guess I suppose you're right. Yes, but
he's dead. There's nowhere to go. There's no drama anymore.
Except if they're called the Skywalkers, then like okay, but yeah,
right. But no. But that's not. That's not the end of the Skywalkers. That's the end of the Skywalker family.
Okay.
Saga.
Okay.
That's
fair.
That's why I said. That's why I was very specific when
You're
I
right.
said family.
You did say that. You did.
Yeah. God, Frank, put your bottle of wine down. Use a glass for God's sakes.
I've had too much wine, and
I had one glass.
My glass is empty. Which means it's time for me to go home. Well, I am home. Great. Any other?
I think it's time to wrap up.
I think it's time to wrap. We are well over time
Yeah.
here. We have given the people plenty of Beer with Geeks content for this week. In fact, they're probably tired of us. So if you want us to shut up...
I'm tired of me.
I'm tired of me. If you want us to shut up, you're going to have to pay us to shut up at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. And the sooner you give us money, the sooner we will shut up. For as little as $1, you can shut us up and get early access to episodes of this show and Academy Rewind and Read Up and all kinds of fun stuff like that. You can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. It's where you'll find the show notes with links to fun things that we've been talking about. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on all the places podcasts are found. You will find this one as well as all the other Thought Bubble audio shows. You'll find us on Twitter at beerwithgeeks. And you can rate and review us any old time. And we would really love it if you did, because it would mean a lot to us. It would really mean a whole lot to us. So please do that at your earliest convenience.
Indeed. I like all the things you just said. So, Frank, I look forward to talking to you about more things, mostly Star Wars.
Yeah.
But other things as well.
Other stuff too, I guess.
Until next time, cheers.
Cheers.